Wonderful. Okie dokie, just bear with me a second. Okie dokie, right. So welcome everyone to the virtual Agile meetup. It is really lovely to see your lovely faces, to people who've returned and anybody new. It's wonderful, even yours, Ohad, that is a lovely face that I recognize. Just to say a very big thank you really to join us today. Our time is so precious, especially at the moment when we're online constantly, but we really hope that you get value out of this time. And again, you know, just really thankful for you to join us today. So just a couple of housekeeping type things. We are obviously welcome you aboard, and you know, we'd love a bit of interaction. We'll be using quite a bit of the chat tonight, so please utilize that. Communicate in the way that you feel most comfortable, I would say. If that is actually speaking out, that's fine. If it's putting in the chat, that's also fine. Interpretive dance can work as well in some cases. Beautiful. We are recording this session, so you'll have just seen that popped up, so we love to be able to share with others who maybe aren't able to join us tonight or like to just use this kind of media in a different way. Our time box is around about 90 minutes, so we'll be here for that amount of time, and obviously we have a fantastic guest speaker with us today, and I'll introduce you to Lyssa in just a moment. And yeah, like I say, use the chat as well, as much as you like. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. And if you've been here before, and if you've ever worked with me or just hung out with me at all, really, I am a massive fan of rock, paper, scissors. Can you show me your finest rock? Oh, finest rock, it's beautiful. Can you show me your most loveliest paper? Oh, beautiful. Yeah, very good. And your best scissors. And I'd like to, oh, nice. I love the different kinds of scissors you get. You always get some very creative ones. That's beautiful. So rock, paper, scissors is great as a decision-making tool, I always think, or just fun to play on a day-to-day basis. I play it every single week, if not every single day, with my teams, because it's just a brilliant game. So let's play tonight. You're going to show me a rock if it's a yes, a paper if it's a not sure, or a pair of scissors if it's a no. So your first question is, are you excited to be here tonight? Oh, we have a cat rock. Oh, what?
Oh, no. wait. I did it wrong.
Well, there is one thing to say to that. If you're not excited, then you're welcome to leave. But we'd love you to stay.
You want your presenter to leave if you're not excited?
Yeah. This is terrible. No, so we are excited to be here.
I opened the screen so I could see you all, and that means I diminished the slide, and then I couldn't read what was what.
That's okay.
Just so to explain, I actually am excited. Here's my rock. I am.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, so let's try again. Who's heard of Zoom? That was a bit of a trick question. Okay, excellent. And who communicates every day? I try to communicate every day. Anyway, cool. So that's the end of our little game of rock, paper, scissors. You can always use it in any which way you want. And I will now hand over to our wonderful guest. I'm just really excited to have Lyssa Adkins with us today. I'm a big fan. I've learned so much actually from you over the many years. And yeah, it's just brilliant to have you on board. So I would love to introduce you now. Lyssa,
thank you.
Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. So, you know, I'm well known in the Agile community, so I don't necessarily want to do an introduction, but I want to open it up for like, if there's anything you'd like to know about me that would make you feel comfortable about me leading us through this topic and exploring this topic together of connecting online, what would you like to know? You can ask your question out loud or put it in the chat. Yeah.
I have a very important question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
That's a hard one. So, I gained quite a bit of weight during the last year.
Haven't we
all
all?
because of sea salt caramel truffle ice cream.
It's a good one.
Oh, too good. Too good.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Then I'm happy to listen to all of your advice.
You're
based on
happy.
your ice
Okay.
cream.
All right. Good. What else would you like to know? Anything about me as a person or my background or anything that would help you be in this conversation? Yeah, Amanda, what you got?
Well, forgive me. I actually don't know much about you.
Yay, good.
So maybe tell me a little bit about you.
So actually, I prefer if someone who does know something about me, tell Amanda about me and I'll fill in any other details. How about that?
Okay, I'll be bold. It's my new thing. So the small things that I know a little bit about you, Lyssa, is that you have come from the world of project management. You used to be a project manager. You were really, really good at your job, as I can only imagine. And then you came through and you wanted a bit of change, do things differently, that sort of brought you into the Scrum Master world. And then as you sort of went on, started doing, walking upon your journey for Agile coaching. And now, you're doing amazing other stuff. Influencing, leading, energizing, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. So that's the personal journey I've been on. I love that, Helen, because that really, Amanda, has formed the basis of the leading I've been doing in the world, which is helping emerge the profession of Agile coaching as a genuine profession. And I wrote a book 10 years ago now called Coaching Agile Teams, which is still really incredibly, look, she's got her copy right there, like really incredibly popular. I mean, so popular that I just recorded the audiobook to it this year on the 10th year anniversary. So, so it's still doing its work in the world because these positions of in Agile coaching, whether they're called Scrum Master or Release Train Engineer or Agile Coach or Agile Manager or whatever, they are 21st century leadership positions. And we're learning how to be 21st century leaders right now. And so I spent the last 10 years really focused on the mission of helping these people in Agile coaching be really strong change agents, which requires a lot of change inside of us, actually, because we're also sort of in our own shift from the old century to the new century, in our belief system, and where I'm focused now. Oh, a little take on the book. So Ines is posting something about the book. Thanks, Ines. And where I'm focused now is on leadership teams. I am devastated about what I consider to be the poor quality of decision making, especially in top leadership teams and organizations. And since there's almost no inconsequential decision anymore, because all of our decisions are so interconnected and have so many consequences, many unintended negative consequences, since the stakes are high, I'm on a mission to radically improve decision making in top leadership teams, only because everywhere, but especially those people, because they have so much influence and because their decisions are so impactful in the world. So that's where I'm focused now. So was that helpful, Amanda? Yeah. Anything else before we start moving into this territory of connection school?
Well, I'm already writing notes, so crack on.
Crack on.
Crack on.
Crack on. I'm so happy to be with you all. Not everyone from the UK, but many of you, or from Ireland. I know enough to know that that's not the UK. And so it's just wonderful to be with you. And I know it's your evening. So thank you for taking
Where are you
time.
based, Lyssa?
Oh, thanks. I live in Richmond, Virginia, so just 2 hours south of Washington, D.C.
I am in Richmond, Virginia too. So.
What? No, but in the UK. Wait, where are
No,
you?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I'm in Midlothian. Yeah.
And this is who I
live in Short Pump.
Well, we're neighbors.
We're like 20 minutes away from each other, everyone.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I'm jumping in the car. I'll come and show up right next to you in a minute.
After I get my vaccination.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
This is who I wanted to introduce you to, actually. So it's
That's really funny.
Oh, that's great.
Sorry, anyway.
Oh, I had forgotten that. So see, connections are already happening. This is really beautiful. That's awesome.
We connected online. We don't need a session.
Yeah, right. So let me talk a little bit about connection and connection school and where this idea came from. You know, it was about, my daughter is now 23. So when about 10 years ago, when she was in that age, when they were all getting phones and they were all Snapchatting all the time, and you know, that they were constantly connected with each other, but I would watch the way they interacted and I'm like, they're not really connected. I mean, they're doing stuff online constantly. They're constantly sending pictures of themselves or whatever, but do they actually have the skills to genuinely connect? And especially online. And I didn't think so. And so I had the notion of, wow, this generation is going to need connection school. Like eventually someone's going to have to teach this entire generation what it means to humanly connect in the way that maybe most of us learn to do it in person. But since technology is going to continue to be an intermediary, how do we do that while online? So that was my thought years ago. And then we had the pandemic. And we all went instantly online, like overnight online, right? Everything. And I have witnessed the most ridiculous interaction between people online in this last year. Who else has witnessed like totally like, oh my gosh, this is really bad interaction? Anyone? Kind of like conversations that don't go anywhere, really weird things like it's really hard for people to connect and to collaborate and to get their work done. Yeah, we can get some stuff done nominally, but I wonder, are we really connecting? So then I thought, well, whether or not we wanted it, we all went to connection school. So the job now is to learn how to connect online, because even large, old, stodgy companies like banks are now announcing that they're not going to go back to offices full time. Maybe not at all. Some companies are saying not at all. No back to offices. So this is the scene we find ourselves in. Now, the amazing news for us is that the profession of coaching, so professional coaching, people outside the Agile world primarily, the people who are skilled in that skill set connect very deeply and genuinely with their clients online all the time, regularly, every single session. And they do it, and they have been doing it for a couple of decades now. So they have done it long before we had these beautiful boxes on the screens and we could see each other, which has pluses and minuses to it. They did it when people used to hold, who remembers holding a phone up to your ear? Come on, tell me how old you are. Who remembers holding a phone up to your ear, like their receiver, right? So professional coaches did it when that was the, yeah, that's right. Amanda's got it. This is like the old bell, like the telegraph kind of phone. Anyway, so it's been for a long time. And so I thought, well, you know, what if we just start to expose people to what some of these professional coaching skills are that allow people to genuinely connect? So that's what we're up to tonight. And what I want to do is set this up so this is really more of a conversation between all of us. It's actually really beautiful that there are 14 of us. And if we can have a conversation around these topics, then what will happen is undoubtedly I'll go, oh, hey, here's a practice that might help you with that. Let's all do it together right now. So that's what I'm imagining tonight can be like. Is that okay for you all? The conversation, and then like I'll discover something to offer? Yeah? Okay, cool. So let's start with this questions that I'm going to put in the chat just to get us into the territory. So you can put an answer in the chat or say it out loud or both. With whom would you like to better connect? Or in what set of situations would you like to better connect? Let's get some of those things out in public space so we can start moving into the territory. With whom would you like to better connect, or in what situations would you like to better connect? I'd love to hear some voices. Feel free to unmute yourself and just talk.
Okay, I'll start. So I work in a business development role and completely agree with what you said at the start, that we've been thrown into this virtual world. And when you're working with a new customer or client, that the whole body language now is missing the virtual world. And it's really hard to connect. You know, I suppose for me, it's, how do we connect? Because I think in the first couple of months, it was quite a novelty. You'd break the ice by, how are you getting on with working from home and now it's become the norm. And the conversations I'm having is a lot of companies, this is how they'll do business now. There won't be travel and things like that. It's going to be really important to understand this connection piece.
Yeah, good. So for you, it's especially with new folks, and it's harder because you're not getting the body language, you're not getting the vibe from being in the same physical space. Yeah. And Amanda says she wants to connect better with unhappy or disgruntled customers. Who else? Who else in your life, or in what situations? Let's get like at least 5 or 6 more. Go ahead, Paul.
I do very similar. Sorry, go ahead.
Yay, first collision. Okay. Here is the first lesson of Connection School. If everyone is on mute because you're all trying to be polite and not step on each other, then what happens is we're not having a human-to-human conversation. We're having this weird conversation where someone says something into a void and they don't get any feedback back. So I feel this is part of what is already potentially happening with you and your new folks that you're trying to get to know. So when there's a collision, a practice we can try, I think it works, is the 2 people who collided, each of them says their first name, because then we will know who the collision was between. And if those people say their first name, then undoubtedly one of them is going to say, oh yeah, right, you go first. But the weird thing about collisions is that if you don't know who collided, then you don't know, like, hey, can I come in? Can I not? Who knows what I'm talking about with a collision? Like how like weird the collisions are. Yeah. So let's just like replay that collision just for fun. And then each of you say your name and then let's see what happens. So just start talking at the same time.
Monica.
Oh.
And Paul. So it's Monica and Paul. Okay.
Go ahead, Monica.
Paul, please go ahead.
No, go on now. We'll be here all day. Go on.
Okay, I'm home, so I'll go. Thanks, Paul. I would also like to rebuild my connection with the team. It had been a year since I'm working remotely from my team. I feel the connection sometimes is disconnecting with the folks who are having a little bit of tough time or are quite alone, and they have started being reserved. So I want to rebuild that connection.
Yeah. So just like we used to be able to see each other in the hallway and go, hey, how you doing? Let's, walk together to the next meeting or whatever. And now we don't have that. Yeah. So rebuild the human-to-human connection. So Paul, you need to go now.
Very similar. So I started a job in the first week in lockdown. So I've been totally remote. I haven't met any of my teams. Start of an agile adoption. So it's been pretty tough just trying to connect.
Yeah. Just getting to know your team members.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just do a little quick thing about collisions, because we just practiced one of the practices. Collisions, say your name, work it out. So if we have that as a practice within a group, and we can work with it tonight actually, then what that allows you to do is that if your environment is quiet enough, you can be unmuted, which means that when people say things, they're going to get to hear like the normal human sounds that people make when they're in conversation, and they'll know they've been heard. So you all want to try that? Okay, so if you can, if your environment's quiet enough, just unmute yourself. That way we can be in a human to human communication conversation. Awesome. Yeah. So any other voices want to come in on with whom would you like to connect or in what situations?
I feel that so my business is a remote business, right? We even before the pandemic, all of us are remote, and so communicating internally and communicating with our customers has almost always been remotely, right? We would go to visit customers typically when we kind of engage or through the selling process, and then typically once we're engaged, unless there's like a big project launch, we would probably never see them face to face again.
Yeah.
And with some customers, we have very, very kind of friendly connection, and we've made it probably the ones that we interact with kind of more on a regular basis. We're able to create more personal connection rather than just kind of the business. And on the internal side, we also, most of our meetings, most of the time we meet is to talk about something business related. And so a lot of time I feel like there's kind of missing the personal side of things. Like I don't know anymore what's happening in my coworker's life as I did as much, where people were next to me and we would sit together to have lunch and we would talk about other things other than work. Those kind of interaction almost never happen anymore.
Yeah.
We interact when we need to meet about some work topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my thing is, what are kind of some strategies or approaches to create a stronger personal bond, both on the internal side, but also with our customers, where what's today is the new norm for us has always been the norm is just it's always virtual, right? It's always these cubes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, exactly, right? See, wasn't that better that you could hear Amanda laugh at your joke?
Yes, definitely. I'm actually going to take that approach to a presentation that I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm going to ask everybody to unmute.
Yeah, right. Because we're already in much like more typical human conversation. So, a couple of people brought this up, and we don't have the hallways to walk down together and just chat. We don't have the going out for a drink and getting to know each other differently, in a different context and talking about stuff other than work. So maybe if we just even start having conversations that feel a little more human, it would start to fill that void a little bit. But there might also be structural things you want to do, like create the ability to have some more of that kind of unstructured time. I'm exploring virtual reality lately, y'all. That's an amazing place to have unstructured time with people. It's super, super, super fun. Super fun. And it's coming. Now that we're going to stay in these boxes, I will guarantee you we're going to be in virtual reality within 5 years, maybe 3.
I think it's coming sooner, though. I think people are already having these spaces created so that you go and meet your team in this office and you pick an avatar and you go and hang out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it's kind of here.
I'm thinking about having one-on-one coaching sessions in it, because we can set ourselves in a beautiful physical location, and that can really change what happens. Right. So what we've been talking about so far are just like some communication or conversation norms that we can shift in order to feel more connected. So being off mute and managing collisions by saying your name and working it out. So those are the 2 things we've talked about so far. Here's another one that I'm thinking of. Those of you who know how to change your virtual background, I want you to change your virtual background to be something similar to what I'm going to change mine to. So change your background to be something similar to mine. And if you don't know how to do it, ask for help. Someone will know.
I don't have my green screen up, so it's not going to work very well on my processor. Sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to do it.
There we go. I can do little filters and bunny ears and all kinds of stuff. It manages that.
Yeah.
Are you in the maybe
I'm in Weatherspoons.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, John, what do you want to say?
Yeah, so how do we do that again? I'm on an old Mac, so.
Yeah, so if you go to the Zoom main app, not the window that we're in. Do you know what I mean when I say main app? And then in the home screen of the main app, up in the very right-hand corner, there is a little gray gear that's hard to see. But if you click on it, you may have the option to change your background. It says background and filters. And not everyone has that option.
I did it in the bottom left-hand corner where I have my video. There's a little drop-down arrow.
Right there.
Yeah.
Mary Helen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so just notice the effect already, just from some of us having our backgrounds being in more similar outer space kind of vibe. Is there a change?
We are more connected. Yeah.
I just feel more settled. That's what I noticed for myself. I just feel more settled. Anyone else? Well, let's just check it out. What are other things people are feeling?
Yeah, this background's nice. Sometimes people at work put on a beach background with waves, and I find it a bit distracting, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Right.
But this is quite calm, isn't it? It's quite.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are lots of things that affect people's physical, emotional, mental state. A lot of things. And the visual channel is definitely one of them. So if you're wanting to create more connection and more calm, choose like a theme that people can have their backgrounds in to create a little more like direct connection. Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil, next time just talk, okay?
Okay, it's quite an interesting thing, because one of the things that I find quite distracting is where people have got a background on, and actually, I think you mentioned it, Helen, with the processor and actually disappearing in the background, and I find that quite off-putting and distracting.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Not everybody's quality tonight is really good. It's not happening, but I don't know if that affects anybody else or is something I need to overcome.
Yeah. Well, what we're doing right now is we're sort of playing with little hacks, Phil. And so, like, this is just a little hack you might try if you want to see if you can feel more connected. But of course, it's going to have some downfalls, right? Another little hack that just came to me is to turn off your self view. So I've been reading research. Who else has been reading research about being zoomed out lately? There's so much research about it, right? Or at least maybe armchair psychology about it. So, and one of the things is that we're not used to seeing ourselves. Because you know, when we talk face to face to someone else, we don't see ourselves, we see them, right? So try it and see if it gives you any more relaxation and sense of potential connection. The way to turn it off is to hover over your screen, your own picture, and go to the 3 dots. And at the very bottom, it says hide self view.
I actually had no idea you could do that on Zoom. I do it on Google Meet and all the rest of the stuff, but I never knew you could do it here.
It's a reasonably new feature.
It is reasonably new.
There was new software at the weekend, wasn't there? So new release of Zoom. So maybe that.
But I feel this helps because you don't looking at yourself. You're looking at more people. We're talking,
That's right. And we can still see your beautiful face and what you're saying. And it's just more like face-to-face conversation.
That's better. That's much better.
Yeah, that's one is really good.
Right?
Like it.
Because we're, it's one of the pieces of research says that we are so overloaded in trying to manage the impression of what we look like on screen. And if we're seeing our self-view, you just think about your brain as just a computer processor. Like, so much of the processing power is going toward managing how you think you look to yourself, how you hope you look to other people. I mean, it's just the stuff we don't worry about when we're face to face, right? And you can still count on your friends to tell you, you got something in your teeth, you know? I mean, that's...
Or not, because people don't talk face to face either.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Okay, while we're on the subject of hacks, here's another one that I really like. And what we're talking about right now is to lessen the cognitive load on your nervous system so that you have more bandwidth to genuinely connect with people. That's the territory we're in now. The third one is to turn your screen to grayscale. Turn the colors off. You can do the, I don't know how to do it on a non-Mac.
So how do you do it on a Mac?
On a Mac, it's in settings. And it's under, here's the easiest way I find it. Let me make sure I'm not going to lie to you about this.
How do I get to settings?
Yeah. So that little box that has a gear in the inside. Yeah. And if you go into...
Apologies, I missed that. The little box.
Is it Zoom setting?
No, this is on your computer.
Oh.
On your computer or your... See, and it might be different if you're on an iPad or whatever. It might be different, or a tablet. But on the Mac and on all iOS operating systems, it's under accessibility, because it's
same with Windows.
Who have color blindness or other visual issues. And it's called color filters on the Mac. And you can say enable color filters, and then the drop-down list, I choose grayscale.
This is so cool.
And what it does is it makes the world so relaxed for me. Like, I'm immediately relaxed because my eyes are not dealing with all these colors. So has anyone else been able to do it?
Trying to find exactly where you do it in Windows. It's also under ease of access.
If you go to the search bar at the bottom, and I just typed in grayscale, and then it brought up a color filters menu.
Can you repeat? I'm in accessibility now. What should I choose here? Color filters?
Yep.
Enable color filters, right?
Yep. And then choose grayscale from the drop down.
Oh, okay.
I don't really see a difference, mind.
Oh my goodness, now I made you all inverted. I made you all negative. This is cool. Try to figure out who's who in negative.
So the latest research is revealing.
I was already on grayscale.
Oh, that's awesome. The latest research is revealing how much we are manipulated by the use of color on our computers to get our attention, to sell us things, to elicit some emotional response. And so our nervous system is constantly bombarded by the use of color to grab our attention. And so what we're talking about here are these three things: reducing cognitive load, having a same or similar background, and a background that we talked about before, like one that evokes the mood you want. If you want a relaxing mood, go out to outer space like we did. If you want a more up mood, you might, I don't know what you would do. Maybe like a party scene or something.
Roller coaster.
Well, yeah, maybe. I really love sending everyone the same picture of like underneath the ocean, like deep in the ocean, where that ocean blue color, like you feel like you're scuba diving. And if everyone puts that on as their background, immediately we feel much more connected to each other. And it evokes a certain mood. So choose whichever one is the right mood. Sorry,
you can customize your background?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can send any picture, any JPEG, and you can put it on your background. Yeah. So same background, turn off self-view and grayscale. 3 hacks to reduce the cognitive load on us so that we do have more capability to relax and genuinely connect with each other. Yeah.
Maybe the grayscale will take some time. It is like for the first time I'm seeing people in grayscale.
And what do you think? Yeah.
It will take some time to adjust, I think, because it's looking so different.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm not saying that you have to like any of these things. I mean, you might just decide you don't want to do them. That's all cool. But these are just all options.
I'm getting used to not seeing myself. I keep thinking, oh, where am I? What are people saying?
Yeah.
It's funny, you've gotten used to seeing what other people are seeing.
Yeah, right, right. Isn't it funny that turning off your self view could actually improve your connection with other people? That's kind of strange, right? It seems like it wouldn't be so. And so I'm in the middle of experimenting with all these things. I really don't know what is so. I'm in a bunch of experiments with people to just see like what helps us genuinely connect. So go ahead. Someone did that thing where they went, who was it? Did you want to
You
talk?
sensed it. It was me.
Okay. That's all right.
No, I was just saying, yes, putting yourself off, because constantly I realized when my photo was on, I was looking myself more than others every time. So
yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, already, so I'm really sensitive to emotional fields of groups because I tend to coach groups or teams as an entity, as a single entity, and focus my attention on that instead of on all the individuals. And so I can already tell that this group's coherence has increased quite a bit. That's how it feels to me, at least.
What, since we've turned our own videos off?
I'm not, well, we've made so many changes now, Mary Ellen, I'm not sure which contributes to which, right? Yeah, yeah. So as I ask you this next question, I want to make explicit room first for the people who have their videos off to be able to answer. Because one of the things is when people have their videos off, which is, you know, cool, I've got no problem with that, but they don't know how to come in necessarily, right? So I'm going to ask a question and the people with videos off have first dibs on answering. And the question is this: what is a good advice you have gotten about connecting with people online? What is a good advice you could share you've gotten about connecting with people online?
So I'll go because I don't have my picture showing because I'm having some tech issues. But finding something that's not work related at all and just talking to each other about something that you discover.
Yeah.
Like the programmer and I who have been working together for today, we don't really know each other, but we feel so connected for some other reason. And we just chat to each other, and we discovered that we both like gaming, we both like traveling, we both love cooking, and that all in a matter of a couple of days.
So how did that happen? Who made the first move about, hey, let's just get together and chat about stuff?
I am naturally a person who just likes to get to know people. So I'm curious and I just ask questions. It's like, oh, you come from Greece. What's happening there? Or what's the food like? Because I love Greek. So I'm like the person who usually just asks these questions.
So you're
and that opens.
That's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And that opens them up. And then the conversation is started.
Okay.
And from there on, it's like no turning back.
Yeah. So for the people who wanted to know like how to connect more on a social level, if you're not, genuinely curious or willing to ask questions like Kate is, you might just force yourself to go that way a little bit. So what do you all think? Who was it who said, I think it was Amanda and someone else who was talking about, oh, no, it was Monica who was talking about we don't have the ability to walk down the hall and chat with each other anymore. And then someone else was saying we don't have social ability. What do you all think about expanding your capability to ask about basically anything? Kate is saying she asks about anything.
we had a new member of the team about 6 months ago join, and he also wasn't part of the company. He hadn't just moved over from another team. So completely new to the company during lockdown. So I think he was there a week and I was off. But when I came back, I set up a half-hour meeting with him and I just called it water cooler chat. and I didn't talk about work at all. And we actually spent an hour, and I feel like since then we've just connected, even if it's about work and we, you know, do a quick Skype chat or something. We tend to intersperse it with jokes or teasing each other or something. So it just, I felt connected after that. And, you know, very different background, not, you know, but just, I think we just connected because we did have that hour.
Yeah. And you called it water cooler chat. So you actually set up the container that told him what to expect was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So Eileen, Tori, Marwan, Savar, if you would have anything you'd like to say, we're just going to give a little bit of silent space for you to come in because I know it's harder when you're off camera. Okay, great. Please feel free to come in at any time and also put stuff in the chat at any time. We really I value that you're here. So this is another thing is now we're talking about like a facilitation move. So I just made a facilitation move to level the playing field for people who aren't on camera, because people who aren't on camera immediately become second-class citizens. Right?
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it creates a level of safety, in fact. And with us, if it is a team meeting or somebody with a customer, then of course, or a first engagement where you want to get to know people, then show your face. But then the rest of the time we switch off the video and it feels just so much more comfortable because you share your screen and you work on something like Mural or concept board and you focus on that. So it's literally feeling as if there's somebody sitting next to you because you don't have the pictures.
Yes, and that's when you're all focused on the same thing and you're all at the same level playing field. When we're in a conversation like this, the people who are on video are more likely to talk than the people who aren't. Just when we're in this, except for you, Kate. I love that you're coming in. So that's the thing, though, is to just make explicit room. And also, go ahead, Marielle.
Is that because maybe extroverts are more likely to put their camera on?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it could be. And I have to say, I conduct a lot of meetings with cameras off because oftentimes people can connect better when all the cameras are off. So I'm not making a rule about cameras on or cameras off is better. It's just as from a facilitation perspective, the question is, what am I trying to create? And how can I make sure everyone has the ability to, and permission and room to come in?
Lyssa, a question here. If you're working in a team, should you take the decision more like what your team is comfortable with, or sometimes challenging them to just come out of their comfort zone could also help? What do you suggest?
Well, I always ask the question, what is the purpose? What are we trying to do right now? And for what we're trying to do, what is the container or the mood that needs to be set to support that thing? If what we're trying to do right now would be better if we were all on camera, then I'd say let's all go on camera. If it doesn't matter, everyone's choice. If we're getting this thing where there are sort of two, there's like a group of people that are marginalized because they're not on camera, then I might say everyone go off camera. It just depends on what kind of thing I'm trying to do, Monica. There's not a rule per se.
Yeah, I find some.
Go ahead, Ole.
Yeah, sorry. I just.
It didn't work. Good job, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to give one example because I joined the project last like 6 months, and it was during lockdown, and it was quite a big team there, so I didn't meet people each other. So during the work, we always do like non-camera because it's safe, give better connection and so on. But everybody without camera. But during Friday, we planned like a Friday coffee meeting for 30-40 minutes, and everybody with cameras. And then like it's more like to get more personalized, get to know each other better. And actually it helped really a lot, because then you feel each other better. You talk not about work at all, from who lives where, who is doing what, hobbies and so on. Then you can play like around it and really work better. So it was like from my experience.
Because you were setting a social container, right? And so it made sense for people to be on camera and to interact that way.
And but then it's like everybody in same condition, like during the work everybody without cameras, but then on Friday everybody knows it's on camera and they feel like the same, right, as everybody.
If that were the case, I might feel like I want to dress up for the Friday on camera. Like,
yeah, you know that you will be on camera, then you like wear your shirts.
Because being on camera all the time, I got to tell you, I've gotten pretty, lax with my appearance. I don't really care much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's business up top, right? Nobody cares what's on the bottom.
That's right. I call them yoga pants. I do not call them sweatpants. They are yoga pants. That's what I wear on bottom. So good. All right, let me tell you a couple more things about genuinely connecting from the professional coaching world. One of the main things about connecting with people is to have an open and transparent conversation about what kind of working relationship you want to have with them. And you might even open the conversation by saying, like, I know it's really weird. We're all in this online world right now, and it's harder to connect. And, you might ask, if our working relationship goes really, really well, what makes it go well? What are you doing? What am I doing that makes it go well? And, you might be bold enough to ask the question, if I could do something that would really have this not go well for you, what might it be? And just explore that territory together, and they can share some of the same information. So I want to introduce you to the topic of consciously designing your working relationships. And talking about upfront, or if you've been in a working relationship with someone for a while, just saying to them, I want to do a little bit of a reset or a level up of our working relationship now that we're in this online world. So in order for that conversation to go well, and really in order for you to connect with people at all, you have to see that person as a person rather than as an object. So let's just talk about that distinction for a minute. When you see people as people, you see them straightforwardly like yourself. You see someone who has hopes and dreams and fears and wishes and desires and goals just like you, right? When you see someone as an object, you see them as something to handle or manage or tolerate or maneuver. You somehow have to get around them. So who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah, this distinction of person versus object. Now, it is totally normal that sometimes you see people as objects, or certain people, you see them as an object because you've had interactions with them that have sort of trained you into the fact that they're just, you just have to deal with them somehow, right? So a practice to just find out for yourself whether you're seeing people as people or people as objects is, as you have meetings with people, look at each of the boxes and look at each of the people's faces. And this obviously doesn't work with people who aren't on camera because we don't even know what their faces look like. But if this were a work situation, you would actually probably know them. So you could probably do this even so. And just imagine if there is a P or an O on that person's forehead. If there's a P on that person's forehead, then you're seeing them straightforwardly like a person. And you're much more likely to give them the benefit of the doubt. You're much more likely, in fact, I would say it's a prerequisite to see someone as a person in order to genuinely connect with them. If you're seeing an O on someone's forehead, then you're seeing them as an object. Now, they say awareness is the first thing to build, right? So you might not like the notion that you are seeing someone as an object. You're like, oh, I'm not a bad person. No, you're not a bad person. This just happens to us. Sometimes we have experiences with people and we start seeing them as objects. We start seeing them as something to manage or to navigate or negotiate or tolerate or put up with. Here's the problem. If you're seeing someone as an object, I don't know that it's possible for you to genuinely connect with them while you're seeing them as an object. So let's just hear what's vivid for you from what I've just said, because I'll potentially want to take it a step further, but only if this is really resonant and taking you somewhere.
I can relate to this, I suppose, in the fact of, and I suppose this is where you asked me a question of like, you know, how do you want to do things? And I said like happy or disgruntled customers. Mm-hmm. Disgruntled customers or unhappy people you could easily put into the object category, as in this is something I need to manage, something I need to process, something I need to negotiate, and you forget the person part of it, and you just have to go to the how do I move with this situation?
Mm-hmm. How do I cope?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. And forgetting that they're the person, what are their needs and feelings, and how did they get into the situation, which may not be their fault either, and it's just something, you know, how do you work through it? Yeah. In the case, it's the question of them trying to remember the P and remember that they have feelings and maybe they want help and they just don't know how to articulate that.
Maybe. So what else was vivid for someone? Thanks, Amanda.
No worries.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easier to see people as objects when we're working remotely?
I don't know, Tom, maybe. I mean, I really worry about these people who got hired into companies during the pandemic and have met no one, like no one face to face. I'm working with a company. Yeah, I'm working with a company right now who hired 1,700 people during the pandemic, and none of them have met anyone in the 5,000 person company. Holy moly! Right. So, what do you think? So you, Tom and Paul, I mean, you got hired during the pandemic. What do you think? Is it easier to see people as objects when you have never met them in person?
I think you'd think it might be, but I think people have opened up quite a lot more being at home, and seeing them at home kind of maybe counteracts that. Mm-hmm. I feel like people have made an effort for that not to be the case, maybe.
Everybody's trying to compensate for that feeling of, we're all just in this tiny little box, but trying to create these personal connections wherever there's an opportunity, right? So like if we're in a meeting sometimes and we're waiting for some people to join up, I've rarely had a scenario where everybody's just sitting waiting. Somebody always starts to bring up a topic that's not related to work, and it's just like a 3-minute piece before everybody gets in that we get to talk about something a little bit fun, a little bit outside of the work topic.
Yeah, so finding those moments to have the chit chat.
I find that it's sorry.
Go ahead.
I find that what is the most difficult for me is kind of that thinking about, okay, how do we make these personal connections? How do we give more opportunities to have conversations that aren't work? Is setting up the time, is being able to carve out time for myself to set that time, and expecting everybody else in the organization to be okay with it, even though people may be happy with it. Sometimes, everybody's working, especially when we're remotely, you don't know what people are doing all the time.
That's right.
And so the assumption is that everybody's working all the time. And sometimes just there's already so many meetings throughout the week. And it's almost like, okay, I'm going to add another meeting now to have fun. It's almost like it feels counterproductive or counterintuitive.
Yeah. So, Ohad, and for everyone who's thinking about this, I mean, I would encourage you to, like we talked about before, like get really clear about what is the purpose of what you're trying to do. And instead of sitting there in your own brilliant mind and going, yeah, people aren't going to want to do this because it's already really busy and I don't know what they're doing. And you know, I can just like, I can see all your brilliant mind is just moving. Oh, you've already decided. You've like, you know, and the thing is,
you already know me.
You can, the thing is that you can invite people into the conversation. You could say, so I'm really longing for time for us to connect as human beings. And I want to find out if you want it too. And then see what happens, you know?
Who's going to say no to that?
Plenty of people probably, but that's okay. Those are the same people who wouldn't come out for drinks after work anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to get them all.
I've started scheduling 5 minutes of fun in the middle of the agenda of a weekly 1 hour meeting. So that we always get to it. I don't know whether people like it or not, but I still keep trying.
And what's fun for you? What do you do?
Well, fun's probably a bit more lively word. So today we have a lot of people from India, and Monday is a holiday. It's the festival of Holi, or the color festival. So you may have seen me wiping my face when I came in because I had all painted my face in all colors, and I just did a slide, you know, that said Happy Holi, and explained a few bits because I got people from the UK and the US who wouldn't know what it is. And then I asked the Indian people to answer either what is it that they like about Holi, or how are they celebrating this year, because I know they have a lot of, they're having problems with COVID at the moment, so they're on very strict lockdown. So there weren't as many of a lot of them didn't speak up naturally, so I did, you know, ask a couple. So they're kind of like icebreakers. But, you know, one of the guys said, oh, I actually don't like, because one of the things they do is they run around and throw color on each other. So they dress in white, hence the white t-shirt, and then they throw all these colors at, put it on people's faces and their hair, their clothes. So one guy said, I actually don't like playing color, but my wife and kids do. So I said, well, you're just more of an observer of the fun, you know. And someone talked about the sweets that she likes. So there was just a little, it's probably more of an icebreaker, but it's just something that's not about the design of the system, or how we're going to resolve that issue, or, you know, some dependency, or, you know, it's just.
Well, I mean, you're bringing up one of the things I think is necessary for genuine connection, which is to share a little bit about our world. You know, what's it like outside of the square that I see you in?
Yeah.
You know, what's it like for you this year with that holiday? One of the check-ins I've been doing lately is show us an object in your immediate vicinity.
Yeah, the problem, I've been thinking about doing that, but most of our people from India can't even turn on their video because their connections are so poor, they never ever turn on their video. So.
But Mary, give it a try. I tried that in my team and we discovered hidden talents. Like we then formed a band and we had a music night because we had a singer in the team, musicians and stuff. So it turned out to be a really fun game.
Oh wow. Yeah. You could pick something up and describe it, even if they couldn't turn their camera on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ines and Helen, we go until 1:45, yeah? So about 10 more minutes?
Yes, yeah.
And is there anything else you want to do that I should save time for?
No, this is all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I just found one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah, Monica, go ahead. Go.
I see you taking out people name. So I feel like connected even by that, because I'm talking to you for the first time. But when you are calling me with my name, instead of just saying, please go ahead, I feel like connected to you. So it's quite good.
Yeah, good noticing. Yeah. So I'm thinking about what I might offer you all. I'm going to send you a link at the end that will be to a practice sheet of Connection School practices. We didn't talk about all of them here, but they're sort of fundamental things that come from professional coaching folks. And the one thing I think I want to highlight is that in order to genuinely connect with people, it's really useful for you to know what your intention is going into every interaction. And here's why. Intention guides attention. What you intend to have as an output together, the mojo or the energy or the attitude you show up with, that you intend to show up with, all of these things will guide what you pay attention to. And then, of course, what we pay attention to is what we talk about, it's what we collaborate on, and it's eventually what we agree on, and it's what we create together. Mm-hmm. So I just want to do something quickly to show you how amazing your attention is. Yeah. And what it's going to be is I'm going to invite you to go inward for a little bit, and then I'm going to ask you to rotate your attention to different places. So you can just see how incredibly facile and talented your attention is. Okay. We'll do this for just about 3 or 4 minutes. And those of you who've ever tried yoga nidra before, you're already onto this. So go ahead and go inward a bit. You can turn your camera off if you want, or just close your eyes or downcast your eyes, whichever feels comfortable. And go into your inner world so that you have the capability to pay attention to your attention. Now bring your attention to any sounds in your environment. And in your mind, just slowly name the sounds as if you're taking an inventory of sounds in your environment. Now bring your attention to your eyes. Imagine pouring cool water behind your eyes, like a little waterfall, cool water behind your eyes, and let behind your eyes relax. Now bring your attention to the sensations in your body, the temperature on your skin, pressure where your body meets the chair or the floor. Any internal sensations of tight or loose. Check out your stomach, your shoulders, your jaw. Just rotate your attention to those different places. Now, as an imagination, a sensation, or an image, bring your attention to the tip of your index finger on your right hand. Tip of your index finger as an imagination or an image or a felt sensation. The tip of your finger on your right hand, your index finger. And then now come on back to the whole group by taking a breath, opening your eyes, maybe moving your body a bit. So what did you just find out about your attention?
The rest is...
Sorry.
Say your names, you'll be able to figure
Amanda. And whoever that was, don't know.
Kate.
Oh, Kate, you go ahead.
I think it will be the same as you about the focus. It's like the rest disappears. If I think I'm hearing noise on Zoom, I hear nothing else. If I shift and search for another noise, I hear that, and then I hear nothing else. I don't feel the sensations. And then if I have to go to the sensations, I hear nothing. It's like, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredibly one-pointed. Our attention is one-pointed at any given moment in time, Kate, and that's what you're making the point of here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot be like focused on one thing all the time, right? It's
Well,
difficult.
what we're practicing, Ola, is, and I probably said your name wrong. My apologies if so.
No, it's right.
What we're practicing is getting yourself ready for an interaction. So of course, when you're in the middle of an interaction, it's almost like you've got all these TV screens up and you're paying attention to all those TV screens at one time. What people are saying, what you think they're feeling, how the conversation is going, whether it's going your way or not, like all of these TV screens are up, you're paying attention to them. But as you're getting yourself ready to come into an interaction, if you want to genuinely connect with people, it's useful to set your intention so that your attention can follow that intention. And so all we're doing here is sort of like, this was sort of like an isolation exercise, like when you used to go to the gym and you, I still haven't gone to the gym in a year, y'all. When you used to go to the gym and you used to like exercise one muscle to really exhaust it, you know, to isolate it. That's what we're doing here, although I wouldn't suggest you're normally doing this all the time. Yeah.
Sometimes you can focus and block everything out, and other times you can't block all the noise out.
That's right. So imagine, Mary Ellen, if you did, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that what we're trying to do, is making sure that we're focusing?
No, I mean, all I was really trying to get you to do is notice that your attention is powerful and can be pointed anywhere. And if your attention can be pointed anywhere, then the intention you have coming into a meeting or an interaction matters, because intention guides attention. What you pay attention to in that meeting will be totally guided by your intention. And in order to set your intention, you might need to get quiet like we did, and then ask yourself the question, what's important to me about this meeting coming up? You might ask the question of, what's my intention about what we're going to do or create together? What's my intention about the attitude I'll bring so that it will go well? So by the way, all these things I just said are in this little connection practice document that I just gave you the link for in the chat. So I realize those of you writing it down madly, don't worry, you got it in there. Yeah, thanks. I probably should have told you that ahead of time.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, I routinely do these practices where I get myself quiet somehow, and then I ask myself the question, what is my intention? 2 questions: for what I want to help create, for the attitude I need to bring to help it go well. Because that will totally change your ability to connect with people and what you pay attention to. So in that URL that I just put in there, that little bit.ly link, are a bunch of practices. We've done a few of them here, and then we added some more actually here that just arose in the moment. But then there are a few more in there for you. So you can try them. And also there are links out to other like videos and things like that that you can use to be guided through it. As we wrap up, I want to offer you all something. I think my publisher does a beautiful job of giving discounts for my book and live lessons for meetups and conferences. So I've just put those links in the chat for you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Was really good.
Yeah, good. So let's hear a couple of takeaways. We just have 2 more minutes. Let's have a couple people talk about just in a one soundbite. What's one takeaway?
I like that last one. Attitude is what I bring. So it's about you know, making it happen yourself with your, with your
Nice.
attitude.
Yeah.
I really like the just the grayscale. My eyes immediately stopped hurting and I feel much more calm inside. I think I'm going to adopt that on a regular basis. It's just a whole different feeling. Like, it's amazing, actually. I'm really surprised.
I was surprised too when I discovered it just recently.
I actually really like that you speak really slowly, and it feels extremely calm. And the pauses is usually something that's not accepted because people feel nervous when you are quiet for 1 second, but it calms me down. And I think that is also building a lot of connection. So we didn't speak about that, but that to me was the one thing that really stood out to be awesome. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think you've discovered something that's in addition to this resource list of connection practices, Kate.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Great.
a nice atmosphere around when you speak calm and slowly. So it's nice.
It's so amazing to see we all are seeing each other and talking to each other for the first time, but still I feel I have built up connections with you all. So it's so, I still need to probably imbibe or absorb whatever I have learned today to see what exactly worked, but there was definitely some magic today.
That's nice. So I just want to give a lot of love to Helen and Ines, who are holding the intention for this community. And I want to give you all the last word, because I think that you're hearing from some of the people here what you were hoping for. So maybe, yeah.
Thank you so much. My intention, it was the joy of co-creating something together, and certainly I can have a very big check mark to that. So thank you all to be part of it. Thank you, Lyssa, to bring us so many things that we can go and try out. Even the simple thought of let's use the tools, the things that we have at hand in a way that serves us. One question to close, and in line, I'm just gonna pop a link in the chat because we do want to get better at what we do. And today is the World Retro Day. So retrospective, Lyssa, what will be one thing you tell us in the World Retro Day?
Is that for me or for other people?
For you, let's start for you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I had forgotten that today was World Retro Day. That's exciting. Well, the one thing I will tell people is follow that URL because retros don't work unless you give your thoughts.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lyssa, and everybody who's joined today.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. Thanks very much, Lyssa. That was really good. And yourself for organising. Thank you very, very much.
Great.
We'll see you very soon, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a nice rest.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.